चैतन्यमयी सत्यमयी परमे. Om Sri Aurobindo Mira is my refuge. Good morning, Vande Matram, Namaste, welcome all of you. So we are going to discuss a great topic this evening on power. So supreme power, divine power, these are the things we are going to discuss today in the course of our discussion on power. So this on this great occasion we are going to discuss a great topic, that is power. Everything almost we will discuss from Sri Aurobindo's philosophy from the light in the light of Sri Aurobindo's writings. Sri Aurobindo quotes on power: love and wisdom are not the only aspects of the divine. Love and wisdom are not the only aspects of the divine. Of course, they are aspects, but not the only aspects. Excluding that, there is also the great aspect. It's aspect of power. So, as we know, love and wisdom and power is also takes a greater role. It has got greater importance like power, and that is also another aspect of the divine. So against your in the quotes here beautifully, every man is knowingly or unknowingly is the instrument of a universal power that we have known. Of course, you are conscious, and we people are little bit conscious of this integral yogic path. We are treading upon it knowingly or unknowingly. We are little bit conscious, and we know. But here in the course, even some people they don't know. So every man is knowingly or unknowingly the instrument of the universal power. He is the instrument, even though he is claiming that we are the Lord and all, but actually is the force of the universal power, instrument of the universal power. Then here in the course, all powers comes from the divine. Very interesting. There is nothing to hide, nothing to conceal, nothing to get confused. All power comes from the divine, but it is more usually measured, misused than used spiritually or rightly. So this power belongs to the divine. It comes from the divine. We are the instrument, but thing is that we are spending mostly. It is usually misused than used spiritually or rightly. Even if the line is spiritual, that is also that power is also getting misused. The direct power of mind force or life force upon matter can be extended to an almost illimitable degree. Very interesting and marvelous quotation from Sri Aurobindo. The direct power of mind force or life force, both the forces, mind force or life force, both the direct power of both upon matter can be extended to an almost illimitable degree, can be extended up to illimitable degree, up to the infinite, can be have a infinite expansion. Fate is not purchased by any man. Fate is not purchased by any man or power bound over her possessors. Faith is not purchased by any man, nor is power bound over her possessors. So it can't be bound, it is limited, it has got freedom, it is liberated one. Which when we have passed beyond willings, then we shall have power. Think that we think we are powerful. In house we have got power, my wife, my children, they are under my possession. Suppose I am a political leader, I have got position. I am a king, I have got power. I am a owner of this company or businessman. People are working. I have power. But thing is that Sri Aurobindo tries in a very criticizes, and thus, of course he has indicated in the right in the pinpointed manner. When we have passed beyond willings, condition is that when we have passed beyond willings, we shall have then power. All power is in the end one. All power really the soul power. The only small bits in small forms in small varieties it is coming and working, but thing is that at the end, in the end one, all power really is soul power. The possession of power is the great test of all idealisms. The possession of power is the great test of all idealisms. Power must bow its neck to the yoke of the light and love before it can do any really good to the race. Before the power is doing something to the race, doing good to the race entirely at a large, It must bow its neck to the yoke of light and love. So power must be accompanied by the power of light and love before it is doing good to the entire human race. Then about the misuse during the course. The misuse of great powers is no argument against the right use. So when somebody is using at the right purpose and somebody is misusing it, but thing is that the misuse of great powers in the course, the condition is great powers, is no argument against the right use. So that is not actually appreciable, not actually, it is not actually acceptable also against the right use. Power is divine and put here for a divine use. So power finally is here in the course, power is divine. So power, as the power is divine, put here for a divine use, not for the ordinary or immaterial or perversion. The use should not be for that negation or perverted use. Power is noble when it oversteps anger. There is no chance, or when the power is there, you become an autocrat. That anger is there, mercilessness is there, so injustice is there. But thing is that power is noble here in the course, that is divine power. When it overtops anger, that becomes noble. With the truth, all the necessary powers will come. The entire set of powers, entire necessary powers will come only with the truth. So truth is the base. Truth is the basic requisite, not as one's own, but the divine's. So this divine truth, it is the condition that it necessarily come power with the truth. All necessarily it will come. This power, this truth is actually divine power or divine truth. So we'll go a little bit into detail as quoted by Sri Aurobindo in other formats also. We'll see few lines from Savitri. We'll see as the Lord of Death quotes in the extreme end, at least when he is providing his statements. Sri Aurobindo, it is Sri Aurobindo's writings, but Lord of Death, it expresses itself. If knowledge brings not power to change the world, first thing. Before it, of course, one line is there. For truth and knowledge are an ideal gleam. For truth and knowledge are an ideal gleam. If knowledge brings not power to change the world, condition number one. If knowledge brings not power to change the world, knowledge has to bring the power. Second, if might comes not to give to truth its right, might has to come, and comes not to give the truth its right, might has to come, it has to give to truth her right. Then if it is these conditions are failing of which this condition, a blind force not truth has made the ignorant world. So this ignorant world is made up by the blind force. Again, a blind force not truth orders the lives of men, because these initial two conditions, knowledge has to be brought to change the world, might that must come and give to her truth her right. Then a blind force not truth has made the ignorant world. A blind force not truth orders the lives of men. Then this Lord of Death quotes here very in a negation, in a very sarcastical way, actually tries to explain. By power, not light, the great gods rule the world. Just imagine how this is the only negation and a negation. There is nothing truth in it. If, by power, not light, the great gods rule the world. Nothing. It is, there is no truth in it. I don't think, because still then that is the antithesis. That is the death's thesis. He has understood by death, with which he actually keeps ruling since the time immemorial. Power is the arm of God, the seal of fate. Then he quotes, O human, claimant to immortality, reveal thy power if you have got power, if that divine power is there, if the supreme power is that they are all inside you. Lay bare thy spirit's force, then will I give back to thee, Satyavan. Or if the mighty mother is with thee, because you are so powerful, you feel that mighty mother is with you, show me her face that I may also worship her. Let the deathless eyes look into the eyes of death. Then very let the deathless eyes look into the eyes of death. An imperishable force touching brute things transform earth's death into immortal life. That immortality, immortal life, the condition is that an imperishable force, force is capital force that has to come, and that must be imperishable force touching brute things. Imperishable force, it will touch the brute things, and there will be the process of transformation, earth's death into immortal life. Then can the dead return to thee and live with the power, with the force, with the divine force, in the transformation. Then can the dead return to thee and live. The prostrate earth perhaps shall lift his gaze. Prostrate, it is sleeping earth, perhaps shall lift her gaze and feel near her the secret body of God. And love and joy overtake the fleeing time. So these are the conditions already it has expressed. So we'll little bit we'll listen how this world is packed with power, how this with glorified with the God, the Mother as God. There is there is a supreme epiphany. See Mother quotes, the all beautiful makes a marble of each event. The all wonderful makes a marvel of each event. The all beautiful is a miracle in each shape. The all blissful smites with rapture, the heart's throbs. A pure celestial joy is the use of sense. So just imagine everything is packed with divine, the mother, of course, and tries to explain in a beautiful manner. Again, we can quote Sri Aurobindo. Follow your soul and not your mind. Your soul that answers to the truth, not your mind that lives at appearances. So that is the difference between soul and mind. Mind that lives at the towards the appearances, but the soul that lives at the truth. So what we have to do between the two? So what exactly it has to be done? Trust the divine power, not any ordinary human power or the worldly pleasure or power. Trust the divine power, and she will free the godlike elements in you and shape all into an expression of the divine nature. Again, Sri Aurobindo quotes that this supramental change, it is a thing decreed and inevitable in the evolution of the earth consciousness. For its upward ascent is not ended, and mind is not its last summit. We can take everything with the use of mind. Mind is all, mind is doing all. This can be taken for granted. But that, how it will work, but that the change may arrive, take form and endure, there is needed the call from below with a will to recognize. From below we must call, and there must be a willingness from the us in lower hemisphere to will recognize and not deny the light when it comes. When it will come, we must not deny it. And there is also on the simultaneously on the from the top there is needed the sanction of the supreme from above. So call from below with a will to recognize and sanction of the truth from above. Then how it will be negotiated, how this will be matched serum the courts here. The power that mediates between the sanction and call is the presence and power of the Divine Mother. Presence and power of the Divine Mother, that is required, that mediates between the two, sanction and the call. Then, of course, here in the courts again, the mother's power and not any human endeavor and tapasya. Human endeavor is there, tapasya is there, but actually this higher thing, it can't be done by your own presence. So here in the course, this power, this can't be done by an, this transformation can be done only by, can't be done by an unaided effort. So, mother's power and not any human endeavor and tapasya can alone rend the lead and tear the covering and save the vessel and bring down into this world of obscurity, falsehood, death and suffering, truth and light and life divine and the